you'll find that generally older adults are more inclined to follow anything that a care worker says. So if you have a healthcare support professional telling an older adult to do something, they're generally like to follow it. However, this gentleman came from a care home, was quite lucid on the day that he arrived. However, he doesn't always have the capacity. So his daughter was the power of attorney. She attended the appointment with him. She had questions that she wanted answers for her father. He also was the person that the information was fed to and directed at, so that he was able to respond, and none of the power was taken from him. So he still had, it was all sort of person-centered and around him. So the communication was that he was engaged, his daughter was engaged. So there was a lot of background information obtained by the daughter. She was happy for the information to be shared with the care home that he was returning back to. So any sort of documents that were given would have been put on his file for his key worker. The daughter was also informed of any outcomes, so it meant that he was in a safe space, that all the information was given to the right people and wasn't breaking any sort of data protection or any communication risks there. Next slide.
Okay.
Also in a care home, similar condition, also had an inguinal hernia, which is quite common with gents of a certain age. However, he didn't have the same sort of lucidity. He also suffered from a lot of urinary tract infections. He had outbursts of aggression. His medication wasn't stable. There was lots of other factors where the care home had been a bit different. They'd gone through turbulence with COVID where there was different staff in and out. He didn't have that constant support. So his wife wasn't able to advocate for him and know what was good for him. And because he also wasn't able to indicate whether there was pain or not, it was best practice not to support him, because in doing so, there was risk of strangulation of the hernia. He wasn't as mobile. So in doing so, gravity wasn't taking effect. There was a gentleman that was fitted with a similar supporter truss on a ward. He was happy to follow advice at that point. He was given all the information. However, it was very overwhelming. By the time he got home, back to his own routine, he just thought he was told to keep it on. And he did so for 6 months. And if you imagine wearing something next to your genitals for 6 months, the hygiene levels aren't going to be great. And there was obviously a lot of damage to the skin at that point. So there was that sort of risk of abuse and harm. Nothing was done. We weren't abusing or harming him, but it was that lack of follow-up and assuming that he had the capacity at that point, because there was nothing in his records to say that dementia was present or that he wasn't able to, or cognitively able to, take anything on board.